The door slammed open. Jessica screamed, clutching the sheets against her chest. The half-naked guy beside her nearly fell out of bed, scrambling to pull on his jeans. His eyes went wide, pure panic. Good. He should be scared. I stepped inside, my heart hammering, my hands shaking with pure, controlled rage. So this is what my wife had been doing while I was out working late? This is what she meant by girls' night and staying at a friend's house? The guy bolted. No words, no explanation. He just grabbed whatever he could and dove out the window. I didn't care. He wasn't my problem. Jessica was. She sat there on the bed, looking at me, and then she smirked. Smirked. Like getting caught in our bed with another man was some kind of joke. Like she wasn't even sorry. Well, she said, stretching lazily, I guess the secret's out. My hands clenched into fists. My whole world had just gone up in flames, and this was her reaction? I took a slow step forward, my voice low, steady. How long? She shrugged. Does it matter? Oh, it mattered. It mattered more than she could possibly imagine. Because if she thought I was just going to walk away from this like some fool, she had another thing coming. Jessica's smirk didn't fade. She leaned back against the headboard like she had all the time in the world, as if she hadn't just been caught betraying me in the most humiliating way possible. I asked you a question, I said, my voice like ice. How long? She rolled her eyes. Oh, come on, Daniel. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. That was the word she chose? After I just caught her in our bed with another man? My fingers twitched at my sides, my pulse hammering in my ears. The room smelled of sweat, cheap perfume, and betrayal. You don't get to act like this is no big deal, I said, my voice dangerously calm. You've been lying to me. Sleeping with someone else. In our bed. Jessica sighed and tossed the sheets off like I was wasting her time. She stood, completely unbothered, stretching as if she had just woken up from a nap. Fine. If you really need to know. A few months. A few months. I exhaled slowly, forcing myself to stay in control. While I was working overtime. While I was breaking my back to make sure we had everything we needed, you were. Oh my God, Daniel, spare me. She groaned. Do you hear yourself? Acting like some tragic victim. Let's be real, you've been boring for a long time. Same routine, same conversations, same everything. I just needed excitement. Excitement. She said it like I was some kind of outdated TV show she got tired of watching. A laugh bubbled up in my throat, bitter and hollow. So you destroyed our marriage because you were bored? She crossed her arms, unashamed. I wouldn't put it like that. No, of course not, I said, nodding. Because then you'd actually have to admit what you've done. Jessica scoffed. Oh, please. Don't act like I'm some monster. You just weren't enough anymore. It happens. I wasn't enough? I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. I had given this woman everything. My time, my energy, my loyalty. And this was how she repaid me? By sneaking around behind my back and blaming me for it? I took a deep breath. I wasn't going to lose control. I wouldn't give her that satisfaction. You know what, Jessica? I said, my voice suddenly calm. You're right. She blinked. What? You're right, I repeated, nodding. I've been an idiot. I thought we were building something real. I thought we were a team. But I see it now. You don't care about loyalty. You don't care about love. You just care about whatever feels good in the moment. She shrugged, like I had finally caught up. Now you're getting it. I stared at her for a long moment. Then, slowly, I smiled. Her expression faltered. Why are you smiling? I stepped toward the dresser and grabbed my phone. Because, Jessica, I have everything on camera. Her face drained of color. What? I turned the screen toward her. A live feed from a hidden camera in the bedroom played back every disgusting detail. Every lie. Every betrayal. Jessica's lips parted. You set me up? I wanted proof, I said, enjoying the way she finally looked scared. I had a feeling you were lying. And now? I have everything I need. Her eyes darted around the room like a cornered animal. Daniel, you're overreacting. You wouldn't. Oh, I would, I said, my voice sharp as a knife. And I will. Say hello to divorce court. Jessica's mask of arrogance cracked. Wait, let's just talk about this. Talk? I laughed. You never wanted to talk. You wanted to lie, cheat, and blame me for it. But now? I'm done talking. I grabbed my keys, my phone, and headed for the door. Jessica's voice rang out behind me, desperate now. Daniel, come on, don't do this. I didn't even turn around. I was done with her. And I was about to make sure she regretted every single choice she made. I didn't look back. Not even once. Jessica's voice grew shrill behind me, shouting my name like I owed her a conversation, like she hadn't just torn our marriage apart with her selfishness. The hotel hallway felt colder than it should have, or maybe that was just the weight in my chest, pressing down hard. My fingers clenched around my phone. The video was still playing. Every second of it was proof of exactly who she was. Not the woman I had married, not the woman I thought I knew. A liar. A cheater. A fraud. I stepped into the elevator, ignoring the frantic footsteps running after me. Daniel, wait. The doors slid closed in her face. I let out a slow breath, my jaw tightening. She wanted to play games? Fine. But she wasn't going to win. I drove home on autopilot, my mind racing. Jessica thought she could walk all over me and get away with it. That I'd be like every other guy who found out and just sat there, crying into a beer, letting her have the upper hand. Not me. I pulled into the driveway and sat there for a moment, gripping the wheel. What's the next move? The camera footage was solid proof. But I wasn't just going to file for divorce and let her walk away clean. She needed to feel this. She needed to feel the weight of everything she threw away. I grabbed my phone and dialed Mark. He picked up on the first ring. Yo, what happened? I exhaled, staring straight ahead. You were right. Mark let out a low whistle. Damn. How bad? I chuckled darkly. Caught them in the act. She didn't even try to deny it. Just sat there acting like she did nothing wrong. She's a piece of work, man. Yeah, I muttered, running a hand through my hair. But I'm not just letting her off easy. I need to hit her where it hurts. There was a pause on the line. Then Mark's voice dropped lower. You sure you want to go down that road? I smiled, though there was nothing friendly about it. Oh, I'm sure. I walked into the house and immediately started packing. Not my things, hers. Every designer bag, every dress, every pair of expensive heels she had begged me to buy over the years. All of it. Straight into trash bags. She wanted a new life? Fine. She could start from scratch. I didn't stop there. I grabbed my laptop and logged into our shared accounts, bank, Netflix, phone plan. One by one, I shut everything down. She had gotten comfortable. Too comfortable. She thought I'd always be there, paying for everything, keeping her safe while she ran around behind my back. No more. By the time I finished, my pulse had finally slowed. This was how you take back control. Not by sitting around, crying about it. Not by screaming or begging. By acting. The front door slammed open. I turned, expecting her. Jessica stood in the doorway, her hair a mess, still wearing the dress she threw on in the hotel room. Her eyes darted around the house, taking in the mess I had made of her things. Her mouth fell open. What the hell are you doing? I zipped up the last bag and tossed it onto the pile by the door. Exactly what I should have done a long time ago. She stormed forward, her heels clicking against the floor. You're crazy. You can't just throw my stuff in garbage bags like I'm some random roommate you're kicking out. That's exactly what I'm doing. I folded my arms. Except even a roommate would have more respect than you. Her eyes flashed. You don't get to do this. This is my house too. I smiled coldly. No, Jessica. It's my house. Paid for by my job. My money. You've been living here for free while stabbing me in the back. She opened her mouth, then shut it. For the first time, she looked nervous. Good. I took a step forward. You thought you could cheat on me, lie to me, and still keep your cushy little life? Nah. That ends tonight. Her hands clenched into fists. You're pathetic. You're doing all this because you got your feelings hurt. I laughed. A real, genuine laugh. No, I'm doing this because I finally see you for what you are. I gestured to the trash bags. And I don't keep garbage in my house. Her face turned red. She actually looked like she wanted to hit me. Where am I supposed to go? She snapped. I shrugged. Maybe your new boyfriend has a spare couch. Oh, wait. He ran away half naked. Doesn't seem very reliable. Jessica gritted her teeth. You're a real piece of work. I nodded. Right back at you. She stood there for a moment, like she was debating what to do. Then, without another word, she grabbed one of the bags and stormed out. I watched through the window as she tried to call someone. Probably one of her little friends. But she was about to learn something real fast. She wasn't just losing me. She was losing everything. And I was just getting started. Jessica stood outside in the driveway, her phone pressed to her ear. I could see it in her face, the realization that she had nowhere to go. No backup plan. She had gotten so comfortable in her little game, playing both sides, that she never stopped to think what would happen if she lost everything. And now? She was watching it crumble. I didn't move from the window as she paced, her heels clicking against the pavement. I knew exactly what was happening. She was calling one of her friends, hoping they'd take her in, hoping someone would still have her back. But I had made sure to get ahead of her. Before I threw her out, I had sent the footage, the full, disgusting, humiliating footage, to a few key people. Her parents, her best friend, Rachel, and, of course, her job. Jessica had always acted like she was untouchable, that she could lie, cheat, and get away with it. But now, she was standing in the cold, her perfect little world falling apart in real time. I watched as she lowered her phone, staring at the screen in disbelief. No one was answering. She turned toward the house, her expression twisting into something between rage and desperation. I smirked. Checkmate. The door rattled as she banged on it. Daniel, open the damn door. I took my time walking over. When I finally pulled it open, I leaned against the frame, crossing my arms. Something wrong. Her nostrils flared. Did you send the video to my parents? I smiled. Yup. Her jaw clenched. Are you insane? Do you have any idea what you've done? I tilted my head. Oh, you mean exposing you for exactly who you are? Yeah, I think I do. Jessica's hands curled into fists. You ruined my life, Daniel. I barked out a laugh. The audacity. No, Jessica. You ruined your life the moment you decided to cheat. All I did was show people the truth. She took a step forward like she was going to push past me. I didn't move. I have nowhere to go, she snapped. I shrugged. Not my problem. She let out a sharp, humorless laugh. You know what? Fine. You win. You got your little revenge. You embarrassed me. But you're still my husband, and we need to figure this out like adults. I raised an eyebrow. Adults? You mean the way you acted when you brought another man into my house? Into my bed. She waved a hand like she was brushing that away. Like it wasn't the core of everything. I made a mistake, all right? But marriage isn't just about one mistake. We have years together, Daniel. Years that shouldn't just be thrown away. I studied her. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry you got caught. Jessica's lips pressed into a thin line. She was losing control, and she knew it. She wasn't used to being powerless. I stepped outside, letting the cold night air bite at my skin. You know what, Jessica? Let's talk about fairness. Let's talk about all the years I spent trusting you, loving you, and being loyal to you while you treated our marriage like a joke. She shifted uncomfortably, but I wasn't done. Let's talk about all the times I stayed late at work, thinking I was providing for us, while you were out with him. Let's talk about the lies, the manipulation, the way you made me feel like I was the crazy one anytime I questioned you. Jessica scoffed. Oh my God, you sound pathetic. This little sob story. I grabbed my phone and pulled up the video. I turned the volume up and hit play. Moaning. Heavy breathing. Her voice, saying things she never said to me. Her face drained of color. Turn that off. I stared at her, letting it play another second longer before stopping it. You don't like hearing it, do you? I said quietly. Hurts, doesn't it? Being confronted with reality. Jessica swallowed hard. Daniel, please. No, I cut in. No more excuses. No more lies. You're done. We're done. And you're not stepping foot back into this house. Her breathing turned shaky, but I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore. I turned on my heel, walking back inside. Before I shut the door, I tossed one final line over my shoulder. Good luck finding someone else to put up with you. Then I locked it. I stood in the silence of my home, feeling the weight of everything hit me at once. Jessica was out of my life. Finally. I wasn't going to let this break me. I was done being the fool. Now, it was time to rebuild. On my own terms. I stood by the window, watching Jessica pace back and forth in the driveway like a cornered animal. Her phone was still in her hand, but at this point, it was useless. No one was answering her calls. I had made sure of that. Jessica thrived on control, on twisting situations until she came out on top. But now, she had nothing. No house. No money. No backup. And the best part? She knew it. I could almost hear her thoughts racing, scrambling for a way out of this. She wasn't sad. She wasn't even sorry. She was panicking. Because for the first time in her life, she couldn't manipulate her way out of a mess. I smirked. How does it feel, Jessica? After a few more minutes of pacing, she grabbed the trash bags filled with her clothes, stuffed them into her car, and drove off. I didn't know where she was going, and honestly, I didn't care. I turned away from the window, exhaling slowly. The house felt different. For years, it had been our home. But now, it was just mine. And it was about damn time. I sat on the couch, scrolling through my phone. My notifications were blowing up: texts, calls, voicemails. People had seen the video. Rachel, Jessica's best friend, had sent a string of messages. Rachel, Jesus, Daniel, I had no idea. Rachel, I just blocked her. She's been calling me nonstop. Rachel, her parents are losing their minds. I chuckled. Good. Let them. Another message popped up from her boss. Mr. Callahan, Daniel, I don't know what to say. We had no idea Jessica was capable of something like this. Mr. Callahan, effective immediately, she's been terminated. We can't have someone like that representing our company. I leaned back, grinning at the screen. Jessica had spent years building an image, polished, professional, untouchable. Now? Gone. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. No more lies. No more pretending. I took my time getting ready, enjoying the silence. Then, as I stepped outside, I saw her. Jessica, sitting on the front steps, looking like absolute hell. Her hair was a mess, her makeup smudged from what I assumed were either fake tears or an actual breakdown. Either way, it wasn't my problem. I sighed. What do you want, Jessica? She looked up at me, her eyes bloodshot. I didn't have anywhere else to go. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Not my problem. Daniel, please. Her voice cracked. She swallowed. I lost my job. My parents won't even talk to me. Rachel blocked me. I don't have anything left. I nodded slowly. Sounds about right. She let out a bitter laugh. You're enjoying this, aren't you? I shrugged. I didn't make you cheat, Jessica. I didn't make you lie. You did this to yourself. She ran a hand through her hair, her fingers trembling. I messed up, okay? But we can fix this. I blinked. Fix. Jessica looked up at me with those manipulative, calculating eyes I had fallen for so many times before. We've been together for so long, Daniel. We've built a life. Do you really want to throw all of that away? I stared at her, waiting for one single ounce of genuine remorse. I didn't get it. She wasn't apologizing because she regretted what she had done. She was apologizing because she had lost. I let out a slow breath. You don't get it, do you? Jessica frowned. Get what? I took a step forward, towering over her. I spent years giving you everything. My time, my love, my loyalty. And you threw it all away like it was nothing. Her lips parted slightly, but she didn't speak. I exhaled sharply. You're not sorry, Jessica. You're just scared. Scared to be alone. Scared to start over. But that's not my responsibility anymore. A tear slipped down her cheek. Fake. I didn't flinch. You need to leave, I said quietly. Her mouth trembled. Daniel. Leave, I repeated. She stared at me for a long moment, searching for something. A weakness. A hesitation. She didn't find it. Jessica let out a shaky breath, nodded once, and stood up. Without another word, she walked to her car, got in, and drove away. I watched until she disappeared down the street. Then, for the first time in a long time, I smiled. I had one, and it felt damn good. The moment Jessica's car disappeared down the street, I exhaled, rolling my shoulders back. The house, for the first time in years, felt like it actually belonged to me. No more lies, no more sneaking around, no more playing the fool while she laughed behind my back. But there was still work to do. Jessica may have been gone, but her presence was everywhere. I walked through the house, taking it all in. Her perfume still lingered in the air. Her shoes sat by the door like she was going to waltz back in at any second. The bedroom, our bedroom, was filled with her things, as if she had never left. I wasn't going to let that stand. I grabbed a trash bag and started ripping through everything. Her clothes? Bagged up. Her stupid overpriced makeup? Tossed into the pile. That picture of us on our honeymoon, where I thought we were happy. Straight to the dumpster. I moved like a man on a mission, fueled by every betrayal, every lie, every excuse she had thrown at me over the years. By the time I was done, the only thing left of Jessica in this house was a faint memory, and even that was fading fast. I tied up the bags and dragged them to the curb. If she wanted her things, she could dig them out of the trash like the garbage she turned our marriage into. I was done playing nice. After cleaning the house of her, I sat down with a drink and opened my laptop. There was still one loose end to tie up. The divorce. I wasn't going to drag this out. I had already contacted a lawyer, but now it was time to speed things up. I filled out the necessary paperwork, attached the evidence, the footage, the text messages, the receipts, and sent it off. Jessica wasn't going to get a dime. She had cheated, she had lied, and she had humiliated me. No way in hell was I going to reward her for that. My phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. I had a feeling I knew exactly who it was. I let it ring, smirking as I blocked the number. Jessica didn't deserve a second of my time. The next day, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. No weight on my chest. No wondering where my wife was at 2 a.m. No fake apologies, no forced smiles. Just peace. I got up, made myself breakfast, and for the first time in forever, I actually enjoyed my morning. Then, just as I was about to head out for the day, a knock at the door. I frowned. I had a feeling I knew who it was. I opened the door, and there she was. Jessica. She looked different. Messy. Desperate. The confidence, the arrogance she had always carried was gone. She clutched a small purse to her chest like it was all she had left. I leaned against the doorframe. Didn't I tell you to leave? She exhaled shakily. Daniel, please. Just hear me out. I said nothing. She swallowed, glancing at the ground before looking back up at me. I know I messed up. I laughed. Messed up? That's what you're calling it. Her eyes shimmered like she was about to cry. But I had seen this act too many times. She sniffed. I lost everything. My job. My friends. My family won't even talk to me. I raised an eyebrow. And whose fault is that? She bit her lip. I wasn't thinking. I was selfish. But, Daniel, we built a life together. That still has to mean something. I stared at her for a long moment. Once upon a time, I would have fallen for this. I would have softened, let her back in, let her spin some story about how it was just a mistake, how she still loved me. But now, I saw her for exactly who she was. A liar. A manipulator. And most importantly, not my problem anymore. I exhaled. You want me to take you back, don't you? She nodded quickly. Yes. I'll do anything to fix this. I smirked. Anything? She hesitated, then nodded again. I leaned in slightly. Then do me a favor. Jessica's lips parted slightly, like she thought I was going to say something sentimental. I tilted my head. Get the hell off my porch. Her face fell. Daniel, I shut the door in her face. She banged on it once. Then twice. I ignored her. A few seconds later, I heard her footsteps retreat. And just like that, Jessica was gone for good. I turned away from the door, feeling a wave of pure relief. I had spent so much time trying to be the perfect husband, trying to be understanding, patient, forgiving. And where had it gotten me? Betrayed, humiliated, but not anymore. I was done being the guy who let people walk all over him. Jessica had been my past, but my future? That belonged to me. The moment I shut the door on Jessica, something shifted inside me. It was over. For real this time. No more doubts. No more second-guessing. No more wondering if I should have done things differently. She made her bed. Now she could rot in it. I exhaled deeply, letting the weight of it all roll off my shoulders. And then I smiled. Not a small, hesitant one. A real, full-on grin. The kind I hadn't worn in years. Because for the first time in forever, I felt free. The next few weeks flew by like a blur. Jessica tried calling me at least 20 times. Blocked. She tried showing up at my office. Security sent her right back out. She even got her mother to call me, begging me to reconsider. Apparently, Jessica had told everyone that I overreacted and was being cruel to her. That was funny, because the last time I checked, I wasn't the one rolling around with some random guy while my spouse was at home. I didn't even bother explaining my side. Let her tell whatever story she wanted. It didn't change the truth. And the truth was, Jessica had lost. One day, while scrolling through my phone, something interesting popped up. A video. Not just any video. Jessica's affair. The one I had recorded. The one that exposed everything. Someone, not me, had leaked it online. At first, I thought it was just floating around some small, niche forum. But then, it blew up. Her coworkers saw it. Her friends. Her family. Jessica had spent her whole life trying to build an image. Polished. Classy. Perfect. Now, that image was shattered. I wasn't sure who had posted it. Maybe one of her so-called friends who secretly hated her. Maybe someone in the company who finally had an excuse to take her down. Either way, I wasn't complaining. It was the best thing that could have happened. Because now, she couldn't play the victim anymore. Everyone knew the truth. And she had no one to blame but herself. The next time I ran into her, it was at a cafe. I didn't plan it. I was just grabbing coffee, minding my own business, when I heard her voice. I turned, and there she was. Jessica. Only, She wasn't the same. She looked wrecked, dark circles under her eyes, hair unwashed, clothes wrinkled, like she had just thrown on whatever was lying around. She wasn't the picture-perfect Jessica anymore. She was just a mess. She hadn't noticed me yet. I could have walked away, could have ignored her completely, but I didn't. I walked right up to her table and sat down across from her. She blinked in shock. Daniel. I smiled. Jessica. Her eyes darted around the cafe, like she was embarrassed to be seen with me, like she was the one who should have been ashamed. I leaned back, studying her. How's life? She swallowed hard. I lost my job. I raised an eyebrow. Oh. She nodded. And most of my friends won't even talk to me. My mom is furious. My dad won't even return my calls. I let out a slow whistle. Wow, that sounds rough. She flinched. Daniel, please. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but... She trailed off, looking down at the table. I tilted my head. But what? She exhaled. But I miss you. I miss us. I chuckled. That's funny, because I don't miss you at all. Her head snapped up, eyes widening. Daniel. I stood up. I wasted enough time on you, Jessica. You made your choices. Now you get to live with them. Her lower lip trembled. I still love you. I smirked. Yeah? Too bad I don't feel the same. And with that, I walked away. Leaving that cafe felt like closing a chapter. Jessica was done. I had one. And now? I was finally free to start a new life. One where I wasn't just someone's backup plan. One where I was in control. One where I got to decide my own future without her. And damn, that felt good. The sun felt warmer. The air tasted fresher. Everything was lighter. Jessica was gone. For good. No more late-night doubts. No more wondering what went wrong. No more second-guessing my decisions. I had walked away from that cafe without a shred of regret. She had tried to play the victim. Again. But the difference this time? I didn't care. Her downfall wasn't my responsibility. It was her own damn fault. With Jessica out of my life, things started falling into place. I thrived at work. My focus was sharper. I started closing deals I never had the energy for before. It was like my brain had been trapped in a fog for years, and now? Clear skies. I hit the gym. Hard. It wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about making her regret losing me. It was for me. Every rep, every sprint, every drop of sweat, it was a reminder. I was building myself back up, not as someone's husband, not as a heartbroken man, but as someone new. Then came the night out. A few guys from work dragged me to a bar. I hadn't been out in years. Not like this. Not without the weight of a failing marriage hanging over me. We laughed. We drank. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I was just existing. I was living. That's when she walked in. Not Jessica. Not someone from my past. Someone new. She wasn't over the top. No fake, flashy confidence. No carefully crafted persona. She was real. She caught me looking. Smirked. And just like that, I was back in the game. We talked for hours. About everything and nothing. About life, about bad decisions, about the weirdest places we had ever traveled. And when she laughed, it wasn't forced. It wasn't fake. It wasn't the kind of laugh someone gives when they're hiding something. It was real. I hadn't realized how much I missed that. How much I missed connecting with someone. Not playing a role. Not walking on eggshells. Just being myself. And it felt damn good. Jessica texted me one last time. I didn't even open it. Blocked. Deleted. Gone. No more ghosts from the past. No more what-ifs. No more looking back. Only forward. Because now, I wasn't just healing. I was thriving. And that was the best revenge of all.